Good morning. Welcome to my kitchen. I don't know if you can see Bowcat there, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to be working on two projects here. I'm going to just go around the corner. I've got bows in every corner. You remember this little hot horn beam gullwing bow that's going to be backed by this reclaimed sinew. Question was, if you're using the tight bonds with your Sinew, can you reclaim them? And I highly doubt it. Maybe with tight bond 1, because it's a water-soluble hide glue, or a water-soluble glue that in some respects is kind of like a hide glue. It could be made out of animal parts, you know, like Elmer's glue, or any other kind of brown or yellow carpenter's glue. But when you get into tight bond 2, water resistant, which means it can be hit by water, but it's not going to melt right away. And then tight bond 3, which is of course totally waterproof. I have to say, it was kind of a surprise that I heard that Mike the man uses tight bond 3, but I totally understand it. Good, reliable, all season, waterproof. You sell an Osage orange bow that's sinew backed, you don't want any problems whatsoever. You fall in a river, you don't want it falling apart. So totally understand it, so that's cool. Will I personally use a lot of tight bonds? I'm not going to throw out hide glue and sinew scrap glue. I like it. I like the idea of being somewhat of a purist, or being a purist. But you know, you do what you got to do. If you want to use a sinew backed bow in a very wet environment, although snake skin and very thin birch bark covering offers some protection, water can get in, moisture can get in, humidity can get in. So I'm going to change my views on stuff and say that it is a viable alternative. This is what I came up with. Now do a little close up, dripping on the floor and stuff. Is after dripping a little bit, bring it up. After I soaked my sinew, you can see that I would have to pull it to get the fibers apart, but it's just like working with, I'm going to get my rubber bands off of here, just like working with the original. Heat makes it fall apart. So this is going to be like shrinky dinks, if you remember those in the oven. Magic happens. This is a pan of hot water. I'm going to stick my sinew that's soaked in there, and voila, that hot water, I might be out of the view, you're gonna have to trust me on this one, makes that stuff pull apart into its constituent fibers. See, that hot water is a magical stuff. I might have said, which I said in years past when I reclaimed sinew, it's like, gosh, I've been soaking this for days and it's still hard to pull apart. Then the light bulb, you know, poof, popped in. The angel sang, and I realized that all I had to do was put warmer water in with it when I wanted to get to the point of actually breaking it into its constituent parts. And so here we go. Oh, you see? Yeah, you see as it's out of the frame, it just pulls right apart. And all I need to do now in this warm water is I'm just going, sinew breaking action. Oh, it's just falling apart. The warm water is doing the work for me. And so this bow, that will be done with tight bond 3, which should be no problem. Okay, good enough. Part 2 is my walnut bow. So here we are, and it's in the clamp. You can see slight bit of string follow right here. And I actually braced it higher and was shooting it after I did that video on it yesterday, and you can see no string follow on this limb. Walnut is a brilliant wood. You have to get a little thicker for a certain draw weight because it has less bending resistance to other woods, but it is a beautiful bow wood nonetheless. This will receive a nice sinew layer unless I decide to just put the bends in it, maybe even recurve the tip so it's a 5 bend bow, a Cupid's bow, and sell it along with just raw deer tendons and a little bag of powdery hide glue as a bow kit. And it's been shot. It has a bend. It's showing no signs of breaking, so adding a layer of sinew will only encourage it to become a much better bow. So this is as close to 100% guaranteed kit bow as you can get, because the bow has been used before, and adding sinew will only make it better. And so you can see that I've got my bending form here, and you don't need a bending form. You don't need a bending form. There's many layers to shaping wood. You can just heat it over the coals of a fire, maybe rub some grease in it, get it hot, hold it over your knee, and reflex it that way. You can use a bending form that you carefully make so everything is 90 degrees here, so you don't impart a propeller twist, and just use like a canoe knot with a rope instead of C-clamps. You can use those ratchet clamps. Hi, river rat. Or you can use C-clamps. I happen to use C-clamps a lot, and that's why you don't see me using ratchet clamps. Clamps are a big investment. I've got a bunch of C-clamps. I use them for a lot of things. I'm not going to invest in any more clamps, so I'm just going to use C. In this case, it's too cold. I can't use my turkey roaster or turkey fryer outside, because when it's 0 degrees, it's going to take forever for the water in that thin aluminum pot to boil, even with the propane heater. So I'm doing it inside while my wife is asleep, so she can't tell me, "You're steaming up the house," although she's really good about that because she understands. I am going to, in a highly technical fashion, pot of water. I'm going to turn the stove on, step 1. I think that you all can master that. I'm going to place this over here. And this is preloaded. I have this adjusted, so even before I start putting the bend in it, I'm able to get my clamps on here, because set that there. You don't need to have it completely over because the steam will leak out. And by that I mean it's going to go beyond the edges of that pot. Tin foil. I disassembled my hat. Just kidding. And I'm going to seal that somewhat. There we go. So far, all of you are able to use this technology. Boiling water. I joked to my daughter Molly, "Hi Molly, if you're watching this," that she could even burn water. But in this case, that's a plus. And then all I do is just wait. While I'm waiting, I could be practicing Lil Wayne's guitar solo on that wonderful song, "Leather So Soft and Lollipops." If you've never seen it, do the YouTube search. I know you've got YouTube, or else you wouldn't be watching this. Go to "Leather So Soft and Lollipops" and look up their official video, and just skip ahead to like 4 minutes and 4 seconds, and you're going to be dazzled by Lil Wayne's guitar virtuosity. I was joking that maybe he went to the crossroads and the devil was busy that day, but you'll be amazed that a commercial recording artist actually can barely play 2 notes. And so here we are. I am waiting for the steam to develop. As soon as I start seeing steam, because under this foil, this aluminum foil, I've got this little environment of steaminess under there. As soon as I start seeing steam here, I'll turn on the fan so it helps mitigate the steam in the house. And here it is. Time and patience is your friend. If you do this method, and you've got a piece of wood 3/4 of an inch thick, almost any wood will respond to steaming. Any wood that you're going to find, aside from some of these super hard rainforest woods like ebony, will respond nicely with a half an hour of steaming. But because I've got my clamps on this already, and it's in the bending form, I can start cinching them down. The steam's not going to hit the handle, so it's going to be handleable. I'm going to start cinching them down time-wise. This is going to sit there for approximately 20 minutes. Approximately 20 minutes. And then at 20 minutes, I'm going to start tightening this down a little bit at a time until it hits half an hour. Okay, see that? It's steaming good. Timer on. Set for 30 minutes. Now I'm going to go off and practice a little Wayne solo for 20 minutes. It's hot horn beam, so it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to start slowly, incrementally tightening these clamps. Little handy trick is I can help keep like water vapor from attacking me by just putting that towel there, and it'll absorb some of that water as it's coming up. And that's that. Woods, white ash, the oaks, both white oak and red oak, which those are trees, but they're also groups. There's the red oak group and the white oak group. They will respond well with this time. 20 minutes, start clamping them down with that bent 3/4 inch wood. With hop hornbeam, be careful. Hop hornbeam is one of those stubborn woods. In some cases, American elm is somewhat stubborn to steam bending. With Osage, orange, and mulberry, I wouldn't even steam them. I would just use dry heat. Rub some grease into it, use a heat gun, coals, a range top, get that hot. Those things bend like rubber. I think bowcat might be in the way, you know, with dry heat. Black locust is another wood that's somewhat resistant, that responds well to steaming, but you do want to give it a little bit of time here. 30 minutes is very conservative, and so with a 3/4 inch thick handle section, almost any wood will work well. On the limbs, I'm going to put bowcat here so she's not blocking the way. This bend right here, if I'm typically on this bow, I'm not going to need to steam it to get this minor bend in here. This is just glorified string follow, so I can just use a heat gun. I don't even need to grease it to get these in. Grease is not your friend when you're sinew backing. You have to use a lye solution to degrease it. But the thing is, you do need to be very careful that you're not imparting a propeller twist, or you can literally make this thing off-center during this process. So you do want to be very careful that you're bending everything straight. And so I'm going to have to cut this video off now because I need to turn on the range fan. And it's hard to hear me now. When that gets to 10 minutes, I'll start turning the clamps on. Now, as far as time-wise as leaving it on the clamps, it's counterintuitive, but steam actually dries the wood out, so you don't want to stress it until it regains that moisture. You're hitting it at 200 degrees here, or 100 degrees Celsius, correct me if I'm wrong. And so that dries the wood out, and any woodworker would tell you that you don't want to stress the joint until, or the bent area until it regains some moisture. I can put this bend in here with my form because it's short enough. I don't even take it off the bending form when I do this. Get this good and judge it so when it's sitting on a wall, it's lifted up just a little bit here, maybe an inch or two, because when you sinew back it will go into more reflex, you'll get it back. I'll just leave it on the bending form until I sinew back it. Why not? It's fun to like play bow and arrows, you know, but I'll just leave it on the form. That is enough. Thank you for watching. Hope I answered a few questions or inspired you to start heat shaping your bows. This is simple. Pot of water, a little bit of foil, a stove top. Almost everyone has that. Even she does. Say goodbye, bowcat. There you go. Yep.